On the Pittsburgh Cable News Channel, say hello to the lovely and talented Audrey Gusky of Duquesne University, consumer affairs expert and all-around groovy gal.
I am so excited to be here, John. You know, this is the world.
I haven't seen you in a while.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I think the last time we were together was when Seinfeld went off the air.
You know, that's right. And we did a live show at what was Kangaroos, the long since now defunct Kangaroos.
It's been a long time.
Long since dead.
But tonight is the world premiere of At Your Service, which will be on
that's what it's being called?
PCNC, At Your Service, yes.
At Your Service. Now, this isn't an escort service or anything.
No.
It's a genuine consumer affairs handy tip thing that people can benefit from.
Exactly. It's a 60-second vignette. It will be on the 10 o'clock news Monday through Friday, and little tips and advice on consumers as to how to save money, how to save time, how to get the best service, how to get the best bang for your buck, technically.
Now, I'm interested in getting the best bang for the, buck. But how did this idea come about? Did it hatch in your little mind? Was it the PCNC, mind meld?
It's an interesting story, because this has been a dream of mine for years and years.
Seriously?
As an educator, I feel that there's a lot that consumers need to know, and there's a lot of ways for them to get the best service and get the most for their money. I mean, complaints are up to the Better Business Bureau. Service really stinks. And we as consumers, we pay a lot of money. We deserve to get the best. So I ran across Sue Brozek. In fact, I was doing Fred Hansberger's show.
A fine producer who, by the way, we understand is having a little medical problems. Sue, get well soon, won't you?
Yeah,
but anyway, one of the fine, well, not only the fine producer, but the host of the plastic surgery show.
Oh, yes, and helped put the marathon stuff together in the parade, and
she's a busy
fabulous.
Gal. Anyway.
Fabulous. So I went to visit her one day as I was doing Fred's show, and I ran this idea past
Fred Hansberger?
Yes. And Sue said,
does he smell? I've never really sat next to him. Does he smell?
I love Fred.
Okay,
yeah. We're buddies.
Good.
But we usually sit closer than you and I are sitting.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Well, you can't not sit close to Hansberger. He just kind of, his tentacles are just sort of out there.
Fred's a great guy.
Yeah.
We have our regular Super Bowl ads. We always do the annual critique of the Super Bowl ads afterwards, which is a blast. So anyway, Sue and I got together.
Does he smell, though? You never answered.
No, he does not. So we said, let's put this together. Well, that was 3 years ago, and it took us this long to finally get a sponsor. Originally, we wanted to do a half-hour show with guests, but...
Well, you're going with the vignette plan for now.
The vignette is working because Duquesne is very wonderful and
Duquesne University
in sponsoring this, absolutely.
Oh, they're paying the freight.
They're the ones.
Well, because they're educating the humans.
Well, it makes sense because it fits in with their mission statement. They're there to help people and do the best for the overall community. And this is a wonderful way for them as educators to present information to consumers and help them. And overall, it's a win-win situation for everyone involved.
So we will see the first one of these tonight during the 10 o'clock news.
Tonight, yes. Probably about 10:05, 10:10, something like that.
Cool.
So anyway, Amy Marshall, who is in your
former
sales
Night
staff,
Talk producer,
and Sue Brozek and I were in the ladies' room at the Rivers Club, and we were discussing this. And so men make their deals in the golf
What do you
courses.
people do in the ladies' room?
We discuss these deals like this.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
While we're primping, yeah.
All right, good.
And so we came up with the idea, and next thing you know, the rest is history. So.
But are you standing around by the mirror, or are you still in the stalls, or how does this work?
Well, it was the Rivers Club, so it was a huge bathroom. So there were couches and chairs, and we were just comfortable and sipping wine, and next thing you know.
So it was a drunken brainstorming session.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it, yeah. That's very Pittsburgh, in fact.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, what are the biggest mistakes consumers are making in the year 2003? And boy, I agree with you that service absolutely sucks in much of the business world.
Well, I think part of the problem is consumers are pressed for time, and so they're not doing a lot of their homework ahead of time. They don't really know what they want. And also, if you really think about it, when you're trying to get service, and let's say you're having problems with your credit card. You call up them, maybe it's MasterCard, and you say, hey, you charged me something. Instead of being nice, calling the person by name, explaining the situation, a lot of times we tend to bitch and complain and scream at the people. And I mean, that's all they hear all day long. And so if they find someone who's nice and kind and considerate and willing to hear what the company has to say as far as what happened, then it tends to work. So I think one of the big problems is we lose our patience, we don't have time, and we don't really give the service provider enough opportunity to really serve us.
So you should try to be firm but fair.
You have to be kind and nice and considerate.
At some point, do you change strategy if they're just absolutely not listening to you? And in fact,
absolutely.
They can be surly and condescending.
Yeah.
I mean, so can the consumer.
Yeah, and in fact, that fits in very nicely with the book that I'm attempting to finish.
You're working on a book?
Yes. It's called Service Roles, How to Be Treated as Every Company's Best Customer. And the advice is very similar to that. First of all, you have to find out what you're looking for, do your research, Find your niche, give your pitch, which is really trying to sell yourself to the service provider.
And scratch your itch.
No, hitch. Got to hitch, because you got to get a relationship, become friends with them.
But all falls fails, that's when you bitch?
Bitch. You got it.
Right.
And then you switch and ditch. So it's, you reach a point.
Switch a ditch?
Switch and ditch.
Oh,
ditch 'em.
get rid of them, all right.
Get rid of them. So you reach a point where, hey, if they're not doing it, you ask for the manager, and at that point, you leave them. Your time's too valuable to be wasting your time with them.
And if you find out any dirty laundry on them, that's when you become a snitch.
Snitching is.
You can add that. Oh, did you
I'll add
already
that.
put that in there?
No, snitch is a good one.
All right, what else we got? I guess that's about it, isn't it?
Well, itch is maybe I can add.
Oh, you don't have itch yet?
I don't have itch in either.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I don't know how we work that in. But it's your book.
We'll
You'll
work
figure
on
it
it.
out.
Yeah.
All I want is a credit. I don't want any money. I don't want any royalties.
I'll
Just
give
helped with the preparation
John
of the book.
McIntyre gave me the itch. Oh no, I shouldn't say.
Wouldn't be the first time. Tim is on the line for Audrey Gusky. Tim, how are you? Tim, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
I could tell that guy was going to be another evil moron.
Yeah.
Let's take a break, shall we? If those of you who aren't evil morons want to call in, 333-PCNC, area code 412. Regardless, we will continue our conversation with Consumer Affairs Specialist Audrey Gusky, who may have more valuable advice for you in the next segment of Night Talk. Single-handedly saving the day for thousands of consumers throughout Western Pennsylvania, Crusader Rabbit extraordinaire Audrey Gusky. Should I say doctor? Are you a doctor?
I am, yes. PhD.
Well, see, I should have thrown that in, shouldn't I have?
That's right, John.
Dr. Audrey Gusky. Not that I would think you knew something anyway, but I mean, it just gives you that little
Got
air.
the credentials,
Yeah.
Worked hard enough for
this
it.
isn't like a Wayne Van Dyne thing where I call you up and say, the boneheads didn't fix my toaster and they won't give me my money back. Would you go be mean to them with a camera?
No, it's really more positive and more upbeat. What we're attempting to do is give consumers information and advice. Information is power, and the more they know, the better off they are. And so if there's ways that they could call a call center and get better information, travel tips, looking at information on restaurants, how to get the best service. You go to a hotel, how do you get that room with the view, or when you're traveling in the air?
Well, how do you get that room with the view?
Well, first of all, you check in at the front desk. Hi, how are you? John. You check their name, and you say, you know what, I'm from Pittsburgh, and I've never been to your city, and I would love to be able to see a wonderful ocean view. Do you have any rooms with a nice view, or corner rooms, or, you basically ask them.
Yeah, I do that all the time, and I am, my girlfriend hates me because I'll look around and go, oh no, this is a dump. We're going to at least try to do better than this. And if I can't move that night, I'll move the next night, or the next, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you're willing to just stay on their case. If you're staying somewhere a week, for example, and you check in Saturday, by Tuesday, you ought to be able to get something better.
Yeah.
If the room doesn't have a great view.
But you know what? They've got options, and it's up to the person at the front desk to figure out where they're gonna place you.
But many people are shy and timid about making such requests.
But they shouldn't be, because it's their money and they're spending it, and they deserve the best service. And it's very simple things like just smiling, asking how they're doing, calling them by name. Just asking for what you want, basically.
You don't ever get mad?
Well, I have gotten mad, and I have caused scenes at airports and things like that. That's one of my rules too. When it really doesn't work, you cause a scene. I was supposed to be.
But that's the last resort. If people don't understand it, they get that. They get to that stage at the beginning, right?
Yeah, you don't really.
You were saying though. I apologize. I interrupted.
Well, I was trying to fly into Fort Worth because I was doing some shows for Southern Baptist. I was going to do a series of vignettes for. They have a cable show down there, and so this was a couple.
Is it
years
like an
ago.
evangelical thing? Is there guys with big Elvis hair and
Well, it's the South.
Jesus.
It's Fort Worth. So
okay. Yeah.
So anyway, I was trying to fly in, and I missed the connection. It's a long story. I wasn't practicing a lot of things that I'm preaching. As far as checking the ticket when I got there, I had the wrong name, and we were supposed to stay on the same plane and go from Pittsburgh to St. Louis, stay on that plane, and then go to Dallas. Well, what ended up happening is we had to switch planes. I didn't have a boarding pass. They wouldn't let me on the plane. As a result, I missed and I wanted to see my brother. I hadn't seen my brother in a couple years, and he was waiting for me at the airport. So they said, you got to go to the gate or you have to go to the ticket place, and I knew I was going to miss my connection at that point. So
they were trying not to reissue you a ticket on the spot, making you go some
and this
other
was
area
even
of the
before
airport.
September 11th. So I mean, there weren't a lot of issues such as that.
Sure.
Anyway, I started sobbing hysterically, and somehow people thought that my brother was getting married. I don't know how that story sort of filtered. So they let me go to the front of the line, and they gave me a free ticket to wherever I wanted to go, and it worked out. So
they gave you a free ticket to wherever you wanted to go.
Wherever I wanted to go. Yeah.
How about that? Because you threw a big crying fit. That's great.
Well, it's not your best bet, but it worked that time. So.
All right, so what you've already said, one of the stupid things consumers do is that they call up and get into hysterical mode immediately.
Right.
And they're too pushy too fast, and they don't try the nice pros
Right.
first. Because people all day hear these complaints, and so if you're just another one, they're sort of immune to your blah, blah,
and
blah,
you
blah.
also have to be a smart consumer, John. You have to know the information. I mean, you have to have everything documented, and you have to have dates and maybe people that you talk to. Or you can't just call up blindly and ask for something. You really need to know what the situation is, what the problem is, what you want. And one of the situations is on the vignettes is going to be how to write a complaint letter.
How do you write a complaint letter?
Well, it's interesting because you need to document everything. You need to give the information. You need to get names and places and dates. Email is a great way to do it. And I have my students doing this as
Is
one of their
email better
assignments.
than, or just as good, or 6 of one, half a dozen of the other?
Probably better because it's faster, and typically you can get a response very quickly. But I have my students doing this in a class, and they find that about 50% of the letters they write, they get something back. Maybe it's a free meal, maybe it's a free
Right.
movie ticket.
And that is the reason to always complain, because you might get something for free.
But and you also feel better.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you having your students do in this class? Just write generic, fake complaints,
No,
generic
they have to think of a situation where they had a problem, and then they write to it. And students typically, it's restaurants or movie theaters or with credit cards or airlines. They travel a lot, and so they've been very pleased and very surprised.
But other than jumping the gun and getting too mad too fast, any other prominent things that come to mind where consumers are just making this mistake constantly?
Well, as I said, they've got to be totally informed, and they've really understand the process. If you're dealing with a bank, there's a lot of things happening there. Do you realize banks prioritize according to best customers? So if you're one of their favorite customers, they will put you through immediately onto their line. If you're just one of their so-so customers or one of their bad customers, you'll wait online forever.
Well, how do you become one of their best customers?
Well, maybe you get the right.
Put in boatloads of cash, I know, but...
Well, it's, you have to maybe let them get to know you, and bank
So
in
that
one
does
bank.
help, doesn't it? Yeah.
It
Bank at
does.
one bank and get to know the individuals.
Exactly, so that way they can help you with some of the problems. Get to know the process, too. Realize how long it takes certain things to go through, and the system and the infrastructure. You really need to understand the whole system itself.
And so consumers don't put enough thought into many purchases and enough thought into properly complaining.
Oh, yeah.
If that's necessary.
Unfortunately, consumers are spur of the moment spontaneous, and we tend to do things and jump off, just randomly. And you need to really think through carefully, do your homework, understand what you want, understand that there are people on the other side of the phone or on the other end of the counter, and you've got to treat them right, and they'll treat you right, too.
Well, you seem really psyched about these vignettes.
Well, I'm sure the viewers cannot wait until 10 o'clock.
No, they can't.
To show,
They got to watch the 10 o'clock
And
news
they're going to
now.
be on Monday through Friday. For about 6 months we're going to be airing these, and hopefully a little bit longer as well. But it'll be tips as far as travel goes. Should you do it yourself? Should you hire someone to do it? Call centers. Should you have a cell phone only? Should you lose your home line? All different types of things across the board.
In 10 seconds, should you have a cell phone only?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I don't think the system's strong enough to do that, unless you're a single person all by yourself in a household. Otherwise,
Right. And then you don't matter.
You do matter. Everyone matters.
Audrey Gusky,
Always a
thank you
pleasure,
very
John.
much. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Thanks for
10
having me.
o'clock news. She'll be there. Watch it, won't you? Back in a moment with the scintillating